Virgo, you know that feeling when your phone buzzes and for a split second, just one split second before you look at the screen, your heart does something it has no business doing over a notification? That little involuntary lift, that embarrassing, undeniable, completely automatic response that your body has before your brain has time to be cool about it. That feeling has a name, Virgo, and that name is written all over these cards right now. I sat down with your energy today expecting one thing and got something else entirely. Something warmer, something that made me set everything down, take a breath, and decide that I needed to be very careful about how I delivered this because what's moving in your romantic field right now is not casual. It is not background noise. It is not the low hum of a maybe or a someday or a we'll see how things develop. It is loud and it is specific, and it is coming from someone whose age you have probably used as a reason, consciously or not, to not fully let yourself go there. Stop using it as a reason. That is the first thing these cards want you to hear today. Because this person younger than you, yes, and carrying that younger energy in ways that probably both attract and unsettle you simultaneously, is not confused about what they want. They are not experimenting. They are not in a phase. They are not going to wake up one day and decide they want someone their own age instead, someone with less depth, someone who hasn't lived what you've lived and become who you've become because of it. What they feel for you has the specific weight and seriousness of something that has been examined and re examined and survived every moment of doubt they threw at it. And what came out on the other side of all that examination is want, clear, serious, growing, right now want that is intensifying with every single day that passes. Before we go any deeper into what these cards are showing me, if a face already surfaced in your mind before I even finished that last sentence, if your body responded before your brain had time to analyze anything, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and drop the word heartbeat in the comments right now, because that face that just came to mind, that's exactly who this reading is about. And what I'm about to tell you about what's happening inside them is going to completely reframe how you've been reading this entire connection. Let me tell you what's happening on their side first, because their side is where the earthquake is. Their side is where something has shifted so dramatically, so completely, so beyond what they anticipated feeling when they first entered your orbit, that they are now living in a version of their own life that they don't fully recognize. And the thing that changed it, the thing that made everything different, was you. Specifically, it was the moment they realized that what they felt for you was not going away, not fading with time the way they told themselves it would, not diminishing with distance or distraction or the very deliberate effort they made to redirect their attention towards something more convenient, more logical, more age appropriate by whoever standards they were trying to satisfy. They tried to talk themselves out of this. I want you to know that because it matters. There have been conversations they've had entirely inside their own head, rational, reasonable, well constructed arguments for why this is complicated, why the timing creates challenges, why a person their own age would be simpler, why they should probably let the feeling pass before it becomes something they can't manage. And every single time, without exception, the feeling has refused to cooperate with the argument. Every single time it has come back stronger, more specific, more insistent, more impossible to file away under the category of things that don't need to be acted on. You have become the thing they cannot talk themselves out of, Virgo. And that is not a small thing. That is actually one of the most significant things one person can become in the interior life of another. And it's getting stronger. That is what these cards are showing me with a clarity I was not prepared for when I sat down today. The wanting is not plateauing. It is not leveling off into something manageable and quiet. It is building with every passing day, with every interaction, with every moment they spend in your presence and every moment they spend away from it, thinking about being back in it. You have taken up residence in their mind in a way they did not invite and cannot evict, and they have stopped trying to evict you. They have, in the quiet of their own private experience, accepted that you are there, that you matter, that this is real. And now they are trying to figure out what to do with that acceptance, what I'm seeing about their specific feelings. And I want to be as precise as I can here because the energy is precise. It's not vague or general. It has specific textures and qualities that I want to describe, is that it operates on two levels simultaneously, and the combination of those two levels is what makes it so powerful and so hard for them to dismiss. On the surface level, what they feel is attraction, pure, simple, physical, and aesthetic attraction to who you are in a room, how you move through the world, the specific way you carry yourself with that quiet Virgo combination of elegance and groundedness that makes people want to stay near you without always being able to articulate why. That surface level is real and it's significant, and it would be enough on its own to produce a crush, a fleeting interest, a passing infatuation. But underneath that, and this is the part that has genuinely destabilized them, is something deeper, an attraction to your mind, to the way you think, to the specific quality of your intelligence, which is not loud or performative, but thorough and precise, and always operating several steps ahead of the conversation in ways that they find genuinely thrilling. An attraction to your integrity, to the way you do things properly even when no one is watching, even when cutting corners would be easier, even when the situation would forgive you for being less than completely yourself, an attraction to your depth, to the fact that there are layers to you that they keep discovering, that every conversation reveals something they didn't know was there, that you are not a person who can be fully understood in a week or a month or possibly ever, and that instead of frustrating them, that vastness pulls them forward. They are attracted to who you have become, not who you are at 25, who you are right now with everything you've lived and learned and survived and integrated. And the age difference that you have been quietly using as a disqualifying factor, the thing you've been holding up between yourself and this connection as a reason to keep one foot out the door, is actually part of what draws them. Not in a naive, inexperienced way, in the way of someone who has encountered enough people their own age to know the difference between surface and depth, between performance and authenticity, between someone who is still becoming and someone who has arrived at themselves in a way that is genuinely rare. You are rare to them, Virgo. Not rare in a pedestal, idealized, untouchable way, rare in the way of something real that they didn't expect to find and don't want to lose. Now I want to talk about your side of this, because the cards are not just showing me their energy, they're showing me yours too. And there is something specific happening inside you that is worth looking at directly without the softening that Virgo sometimes applies to its own emotional reality. You feel something for this person more than you've been letting on, more possibly than you've been fully letting yourself acknowledge, even in private. There's a pull toward them that operates below the level of rational analysis, something in your body and your energy that responds to their presence in ways that you're more cautious, more practical, more Virgo typical approach to romantic situations has been working very hard to manage and contain. And you have been managing it successfully by most external measures. You've been cool where you feel warm, measured where you feel moved, careful where part of you wants to be reckless, just slightly, just enough to close the distance that your own caution has been maintaining between what you feel and what you show. But here's what that management is costing you in this specific situation with this specific person. They are reading your restraint as something it isn't. They are smart enough to sense that something is there. They can feel the pull between you. They're not imagining the charge in the air when you're in each other's presence. And they're not fabricating the specific quality of attention you give them that is different from how you engage with other people. They can feel all of that, but they cannot feel the full extent of what's underneath it. And in the absence of that full feeling, they are filling the gap with uncertainty, with the quiet worry that maybe they're reading too much into things, that maybe what feels mutual to them is actually more one sided than they want it to be, that maybe the cool, measured, carefully composed version of you that they get most of the time is the accurate version, and the moments of warmth and connection that feel so significant to them are not as significant to you. That worry is doing something to their confidence in moving forward. It's not stopping them. The wanting is too strong to be stopped by uncertainty alone, but it's slowing them down, creating hesitation at moments when they would otherwise move toward you more directly, making them second guess the signals they're reading and pull back slightly to protect themselves from the possibility of misreading the situation completely. You have more power in this dynamic than you may realize, not in a manipulative sense, in the sense that one honest, unguarded, genuinely revealing moment from you would shift the entire energy of this connection, would tell them with complete clarity that they are not alone in this, that what they feel is landing somewhere real, that the pull is mutual and the wanting goes both ways, and they do not have to keep protecting themselves from hoping for something that is actually available to them. I also want to speak to the specific thing that lives between you two that neither of you has fully named yet, because there is something in the texture of this connection that goes beyond attraction and beyond chemistry and even beyond the deep mutual recognition I've been describing. There is a feeling of fit, of two people whose specific qualities complement each other in ways that are not obvious from the outside, but are completely undeniable from the inside. What they bring to you, and I want you to sit with this because I think you've been minimizing it in your effort to be sensible about the age difference, is aliveness, a quality of presence and engagement and genuine enthusiasm for their own life and yours that wakes something up in you that has been quieter than it should be. When you are with them, something in you that tends towards seriousness and responsibility and the constant forward leaning of a Virgo who is always thinking about what needs to be done next, that part of you relaxes. Not because they're frivolous or because being with them means not taking things seriously, but because their energy gives you permission to be in the moment, to enjoy what's actually happening instead of preparing for what comes next, to feel the specific pleasure of being with someone who is completely present with you, and what you bring to them, what they cannot find in the people their own age who surround them, is exactly the depth and steadiness and particular quality of knowing that comes from having lived more, from having made mistakes and learned from them, from having developed a relationship with your own values and your own truth that doesn't shift depending on social pressure or the opinions of people around you. They find in you a kind of anchor, not a limiting anchor, a grounding one, the specific comfort of someone who knows who they are. And in a season of their life when they are still in the process of figuring out who they are, being near someone who has that settled quality is not suffocating. It's deeply, genuinely reassuring. You need each other in ways that are specific and complementary and completely independent of the number of years between your birthdays. What I see coming, and I want to be clear that these cards are not showing me a distant time, maybe. They are showing me something that is already in motion, already building momentum, already approaching the moment of expression, is a conversation. The conversation, the one that both of you have been circling without landing on, that has been almost happening and then retreating back into safer territory, that has been present as a current underneath every interaction you've had recently without ever fully surfacing into the open air. That conversation is about to surface. The pressure of what's building on their side has reached a point where containment is no longer sustainable. The wanting has become too specific, too persistent, too impossible to continue managing in private without doing something about it. They are moving toward honesty with you, towards saying, in whatever way is most natural to them, something true about what they feel and what they want and what they hope for when they think about you in their life. And I want you to be ready for it, not in a defensive, guarded, let me figure out my strategy way. Ready in the sense of open, ready in the sense of having already decided before it happens that you are not going to let your caution about the age difference cause you to receive this person's honesty with less than the fullness it deserves. Ready in the sense of knowing that what you've been managing and containing and carefully not fully feeling has a right to be felt, that the warmth you've been keeping just below the surface has a right to come up, that you are allowed completely, entirely, without apology to want this, because you do want this. And the wanting is not reckless or irresponsible or something you need to talk yourself out of. It is simply true. And truth, when it's this clear and this mutual and this ready to be spoken, deserves to be met with more truth rather than more management. Let it be met, Virgo. Let yourself be the person who, when this moment arrives, is fully present in it rather than half present and half protecting. Let the conversation land completely. Let yourself respond from the place that is actually true rather than the place that is safe. What follows that conversation, what these cards are showing me on the other side of this moment of mutual honesty, is something I want you to hold as a picture, a real and specific picture of what becomes possible when you stop holding back. I see ease, the specific ease of two people who have finally stopped pretending around each other and can simply be together without the exhausting performance of managing their own feelings. The ease of someone you can be completely honest with, completely unguarded with, completely yourself with, and have that complete selfhood be not just acceptable, but actively desired. I see growth, both of you, in the context of this connection, becoming more of who you already are. Not losing yourself in someone else, expanding into yourself because of someone else. Because that's what genuinely right connections do. They don't require you to shrink or perform or become a different version of yourself. They create the conditions for the truest version of yourself to feel safe enough to fully emerge. I see joy, uncomplicated, present tense, right now joy of the kind that is rarer than people talk about and more valuable than almost anything else a life can contain. The specific joy of being with someone who genuinely delights in you, who finds you interesting and attractive and funny and wise and worth their complete attention, who makes you feel, not just think, but feel that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. That is what's waiting on the other side of letting this be what it is. Go ahead and tell me in the comments, did you know immediately who this was about? Did your body respond before your mind caught up? Drop the word heartbeat if this landed somewhere real. Drop their initial if you want. Drop anything at all that tells me this reading reached you today. Because the heart that's been quietly, carefully, very responsibly wanting something it wasn't sure it was allowed to want deserves to know it's not alone in this. Neither of you is alone in this, and it's time you both knew it. Stay open, Virgo. I'll see you in the next one.